Good morning, everyone. Hi, how are you guys? I hope everyone had a good night and we got our work done yesterday. Yes, I hope so. All right, so we are going to go ahead and get started. All right, so yesterday we read A Turtle's Life Cycle, and you guys were looking for main idea. Now, who can tell me what main idea is? Manny-Lynn? Rick-Davion? Anyone? All right, I'll tell you guys. Main idea is what the story is mostly about, okay? So if I'm reading A Turtle's Life Cycle, and we read that book, and we were trying to think about what our story was mostly about, I think that we could decide it was about a turtle's life cycle. And that was our main topic, was about how a turtle goes through its life. All right, so yesterday you guys read the whole book, and I hope you guys looked at the glossary, which were those words that we didn't know. It had the definition for us, and our index can help us too, right? We looked up all those words we didn't know, and we looked at our table of contents, all right? So what we're going to do today is we're actually only going to focus on our first section called turtle eggs, and we're going to try and figure out what our main topic is with turtle eggs. So I'm going to go ahead and read it to you guys. I'm going to start right here with turtle eggs, okay? This is what it's going to say. It says, a box turtle can climb a rock and slides into a pond. Splash! Turtles are reptiles. Shells cover their bodies, or cover their backs and bellies. Box turtles live in woodlands and meadows. Females need a sandy soil for a nest. They dig many hours to make a nest for their eggs. Females lay 6 to 8 eggs. They cover their eggs with soil. Soil keeps the eggs warm and wet until they hatch. So we just read the first 4 pages of this, well, the first 3 pages of this section, which was turtle eggs all the way down to where hatchlings would start, okay? So you guys can hear Sloan playing right now. She has a box that she loves to jump in and out of. So we just read about turtle eggs, and we want to know what was the main topic of that section. Remember, main topic means what is the story mostly about? What was it trying to teach us about? All right, so our heading was turtle eggs. I want you guys to think about that, okay? So headings usually can tell us what information is going to be found in that section, right? So I know it's going to be all about turtle eggs. Well, what were they trying to teach us? Well, that's your job to figure out, all right? So I'm not going to tell you the answer right now. I want you guys to think about that because it's actually your assignment today. Like your little exit ticket for today is to tell me what was the main topic? What was it trying to teach us? What were we trying to learn? What was it mostly about? All right, so I want you guys to think about that. And when you know, go ahead and submit it on Edsby, all right? You guys can go back on Milan and reread the text if you want to, or you can rewind it and watch me do it again, all right? Or you can use the PDF and you can read it yourself. All right, so you're going to decide. And then today, I think you guys are going on iReady for 30 minutes. I'm pretty sure. It's iReady for 30 minutes, and then you have a writing assignment to do under discussions, okay? So remember, you're going to figure out what my main topic was. That's your assignment for today. Your little exit ticket, you can find it up on Edsby where you submit it, okay? If not, you can write it down, take a picture of it, send it to my cell phone. All of your parents got a text from me yesterday, and so I know they have it. So just go ahead and send that to me so I know that you are doing your work, okay? And then you do your writing assignment and get some iReady minutes on, all right? So I'm going to be watching to make sure that all of you have your iReady minutes going. All right. I'm going to go ahead and start with the Magic Treehouse, Chapter 2. Chapter 2. Shh. Jack opened his eyes. Bright golden sunlight poured into the treehouse. The air felt crisp and cool. Annie was wearing a long dress, a white cap, and an apron, and Jack wore a jacket with a frilly collar. He wore short pants, long socks, leather shoes, and a hat. His backpack was now a leather bag. I like your hat, said Annie. It's funny. Yours too, said Jack. You look like a pilgrim, said Annie. So do you, said Jack. Oh man, I bet you were in the time of the pilgrims. He and Annie scrambled to the window. The treehouse had landed in the tall oak near the edge of the forest. Red and yellow leaves rattled in the cool breeze. Past the forest and a small village, and past the village was an ocean. It looks like where the pilgrims lived, said Jack. We studied it in school. He opened the research book, and he found a picture of the village by the sea, and he read it all out. In 1620, a group of 102 passengers sailed from England to America on the ship called the Mayflower. Many of the people on board wanted freedom of religion, and they wanted to worship God in their own way. Not in the way the King of England made them. Others wanted to find new life in new land. Today, we call all people who sailed on the Mayflower pilgrims. Yes, said Annie. Jack read on. The pilgrims wanted to settle near New York, but the storm blew their ship north. They landed on a bay on the coast, what is now Massachusetts. 6 years before, Captain John Smith had explored the coast, and he had named the bay Plymouth. So there they are. Plymouth, said Annie. That's where the first Thanksgiving was. Oh, man, said Jack. That's the feast. Wow, said Annie. My class put on a play about the first Thanksgiving. Mine too, said Jack. I played Priscilla, said Annie. I played a turkey, said Jack. Now we'll get to meet the real Priscilla, said Annie, and Squanto, and Governor Bradford, and Miles Standish. Come on. She started down the ladder. Wait, what will we say? Said Jack. We'll just tell them hi and stuff, said Annie. Are you nuts? Said Jack. They won't understand who we are. We need a plan. He slung the bag over his shoulder and hurried down the ladder after Annie. Listen, Jack started. I know a plan, said Annie, but first let's get closer to the village and just watch. Okay, but we can't let anyone see us. We have to be careful and quiet. He and Annie started walking carefully through the woods, but they did not walk quietly. The autumn leaves crunched and crackled under their leather shoes. Shh, said Jack. I can't help it, said Annie. You're doing it too. Then we have to stop. Let's get behind that tree and watch from there, said Jack. They crunched over to a tree at the edge of the woods. In the distance was a row of log houses with steep thatched roofs. Jack pulled out a book, and he found the part about the village, and he pushed his glasses up, and he read to himself. The pilgrims brought chicken, geese, goats, and sheep from England. They brought seeds to plant, and they knew how to make traps to catch wild animals for food. But they could not have survived without the help of Womapong Indian named Squanto. Squanto taught them how to grow corn. Hi, you, Annie whispered, and Jack looked up. Annie was talking to a skinny yellow dog, and the dog was sniffing a tree near them. Don't let him see us, Jack whispered. Why? Said Annie. The dog looked at them and barked. That's why, said Jack. The skinny dog barked again, and 2 pilgrim men ran up from the other side of the house. Then more pilgrims appeared, and they all looked in the direction of the barking dog. Oh no, said Jack. Let's go back. We don't have a plan yet. He packed up his book and started away from the tree, and suddenly something tightened around his ankle. A tree branch snapped. Ah! Jack shouted as he was jerked up into the air. Oh no. They always seem to get themselves in some trouble. So we'll wait to see who helps them out of that trap tomorrow. All right, moving on to Charlotte's Web now. Chapter 15, The Crickets. The crickets sang in the grasses. They sang a song of summer's end, a sad song. Summer is over and gone, they sang. Over and gone, summer is dying, dying. The crickets felt it was their duty to warn everybody that summertime cannot last forever. Even on the most beautiful days of the whole year, the days when summer is changing into fall, the crickets spread the rumor of sadness and change. Everybody heard the song of the crickets. Avery and Fern Arbel heard it as they walked to the dusty road. They knew that school would soon begin again. The young geese heard it and knew it, and they were going to be goslings again. They would never be little goslings again. Charlotte heard it and knew that she did not have much time left. Mrs. Zuckerman at work in the kitchen heard the crickets, and a sadness came over her too. Another summer gone. She sighed. Lurvy was at work building a crate for Wilbur. He heard the song and knew it was time to dig for potatoes. Summer is over and gone, repeated the crickets. How many nights till frost, sang the crickets. Goodbye, summer, goodbye, goodbye. The sheep heard the crickets, and they felt so uneasy that they broke a hole in the pasture fence and wandered up into the field across the road. The gander discovered a hole that led his family through, and he walked to the orchard and ate apples that were lying on the ground. A little maple tree in the swamp heard the cricket song and turned bright red with anxiety. You see, his leaves changed because he knew summer was over. Wilbur was now the center attraction on the farm. Good food and regular hours were showing results. Wilbur was a pig any man would be proud of. One day, One day, more than 100 people came to stand at his yard and admire him. Charlotte had written the word radiant, and Wilbur really looked radiant as he stood in the golden sunlight. Ever since the spider had befriended him, he'd done his best to live up to the reputation. When Charlotte's web said some pig, Wilbur had tried to look like some pig. When Charlotte's web said terrific, Wilbur had tried to look terrific. And now the web said radiant, and he did everything possible to make himself glow. It's not easy to look radiant, but Wilbur threw himself into it with a will. He would turn his head slightly, blink his long eyelashes, and then he would breathe deeply. And when his audience grew bored, he would spring into the air and do a backflip with a half twist. At this, the crowd would yell and cheer. "How's that for a pig?" Mr. Zuckerman would ask, well pleased with himself. "That pig is radiant." Some of Wilbur's friends in the barn worried for fear all this attention would go to his head and make him stuck up, but it never did. Wilbur was modest. Fame did not spoil him. He still worried about his future, as he could hardly believe that a mere spider would be able to save his life. Sometimes at night, he would have a bad dream. He would dream that men were coming to get him with knives and guns, but it was only a dream. In the daytime, Wilbur usually felt happy and confident. No pig ever had truer friends, and he realized that friendship is one of the most satisfying things in the world. Even the song of crickets did not make Wilbur too sad. He knew it was almost time for the county fair, and he was looking forward to the trip. If he could distinguish himself in the fair, maybe he would win some money, and he was sure that Zuckerman would let him live. Charlotte had worries of her own, but she kept quiet about them. One morning, Wilbur asked her about the fair. "You're going with me, aren't you, Charlotte?" he asked. "Well, I don't know," replied Charlotte. "The fair comes at a bad time for me. I shall find it inconvenient to leave home, even for a few days." "Why?" asked Wilbur. "Oh, I just don't feel like leaving my web. Too much going on around here." "Please come with me," begged Wilbur. "I need you, Charlotte. I can't stand going to the fair without you. You've just got to come." "No," said Charlotte. "I believe I'd better stay home and see if I can get some work done." "What kind of work?" asked Wilbur. "Egg laying. It's time I made an egg sack and filled it with eggs." "I didn't know you could lay eggs," said Wilbur in amazement. "Oh, sure," said the spider. "I'm very versatile." "What does versatile mean? Full of eggs?" said Wilbur. "Certainly not," said Charlotte. "Versatile means I can turn with ease from one thing to another. It means I don't have to limit my activities to spinning and trapping and stunts like that." "Why don't you come with me to the fairgrounds and lay your eggs there?" pleaded Wilbur. "It would be wonderful fun." Charlotte gave her web a twitch and moodily watched it sway. "I'm afraid not," she said. "You don't know the first thing about egg laying, Wilbur, and I can't arrange my family duties to suit the management of a county fair. When I get ready to lay eggs, I have to lay eggs. Fair, no fair. However, I don't want you to worry about it. You might lose weight. We'll leave it this way. I'll come to the fair if I possibly can." "Oh, good," said Wilbur. "I knew you wouldn't forsake me, just when I needed you the most." All that day, Wilbur stayed inside, taking life easy and strong. Charlotte rested and ate a grasshopper. She knew she couldn't help Wilbur much longer. In a few days, she would have to drop everything and build a beautiful little sack that would hold her eggs. So up until now, Charlotte's been very focused on helping Wilbur, but it looks like she has her own thing to do now. All right, guys, that is all of the reading for today, and so you guys know what you're supposed to do. All right, go figure out what the main topic of laying eggs was, and then you gotta do your I Ready minutes, 30 of them, and do your writer's response. All right, so I'm looking forward to reading all of those things. Make sure you get them turned in. All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.